is absolute dynamite. And boom, it goes.
And boom, the layup goes. Slusta and Decran are on the move. To Decran!
Hello and welcome to this mixed division semi-final. We're here at London Invite, and boy, do we have a game for you. This is the Australia World Games squad facing off against the USA World Games squad. If you have some deja vu, we'll forgive you for that. That might be because this was in fact the final of the last World Games cycle, and so we are so privileged and excited to bring it for you here today at London Invite, a teaser perhaps of what's to come. I'm Rachel Douglas here in the booth with Marius Hutchison, and we are pretty pumped to be calling this game today. How are you feeling, Marius?
Yeah, I think if there's a game you want to see from the sidelines and get the best seat in the house, this is the one. As you say, rematch of the last cycle's World Games final, but also, Australia and the USA are teams that are up in really close sudden death loss against the Tokay SuperTeam yesterday evening under the spotlights. But yeah, it should be a really good one, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. These teams are going to be playing to 13 today. I think both sides really aware that they've had a really intense weekend. Of course, for these sides, they started on Friday. It wasn't just yesterday and today. They had a bunch of friendlies, which we were able to bring to you on the stream, get a feel for each other, to try and figure out what they wanted to do in the tournament proper. And I think both the coaches just agreeing to slightly curtail today's game. Hopefully they can do in 13 what they could do in 15. And get the job done, make sure they're working their systems. So really excited to bring you this game today here at London Invite. ULTI.TV bringing you all the action.
Yeah, in Club Frisbee, you can take 28 teams, 28 players, something like, to a tournament. And yeah, when you're running through multiple games a day, having that bigger roster really helps. But part of the focus of the World Games, and as Ultimate Frisbee tries to push into the Olympics, is having fewer participants, putting less infrastructure strain on the cities, on the countries where those mass event tournaments go to. And so, here you only get your key 14 roster plus your reserves, so actually they are playing a little bit short-staffed compared to some of the club teams they might have faced. And so 3 games a day, 2 games a day is a lot.
Yeah, really impressive show from all sides, though. You don't get onto the World Games squad if you aren't showing up and putting in the work as an athlete and as a teammate. All of these players representing their nations are sort of showing off the pinnacle of years and years of hard work, physically, with skills. Here, we're just having a look at the brackets.
And yeah, this is the blue ribbon matchup, but whichever one of these sides does make it to the finals, they're going to be facing up against Canada or Germany on the other side. Germany, I was going to say a little bit lucky, but they did really well to beat the Tokay SuperTeam by a significant margin in their pool, so it meant they came out second in the 3-way tie. Tokay SuperTeam, the team to lose out. Canada and Australia taking the top and second spot in that pool. Australia a little bit unlucky to come out with the second place, which gives them the harder semi-final, I'd say. But 2 massive matchups, and we've got the finals for you on ULTI.TV later today.
Yeah, don't go anywhere. It's going to be a day of watching lots of games at the business end of this tournament. But of course, these teams building through their season, ready for the World Games in August in Chengdu, China.
Quite a few players in that US huddle in civvies. You can see Helton's definitely got sneakers on, got trainers on. Claire Trope also in trainers, as is Rafi Haynes. So they might be a little bit short-staffed, and that may be where where the playing to 13 has come from. I did think yesterday during the Tokay SuperTeam game that a few of the players were being rested, but it looks like it might be niggles that have come through rather than just a tactical decision, which is a shame.
Yeah, they've got lots of work to do still ahead of their competition, so I'm sure priority will be getting those team connections, working their systems, but taking care of themselves.
Oh, correction, Rafi Haynes is now straight on the pitch, so apologies, but no, on the female matching side, definitely short-staffed.
Australia, first pull, USA on offense. Happy to move it around the back. Finney puts it up. That's going to just sail past Rafi Hayes. Australia, first point, first break opportunity.
Yeah, even at this highest level, it's incredible that you know, that transition from warm up to first point does matter.
Moving it quickly across the field. Australia rifling down the field with it. Pigeon. Oh, and there's a call.
Pick downfield. Just some, yeah, classic cutting pairs running through each other.
Egan Griffiths with the disc. Just clarifying. Mark's a little bit far away. That's going to be self-check on 0. Just a little bit of a reset in the downfield space. Egan Griffiths. Andrews, and a great block. Huge pressure. Dawn Colton not letting that one get past. USA back on offense, looking for the hold. Colton. Freechild not able to get free in that dump space, clears through. Johnson moves to that far sideline. Bit of a collision, pick called.
And a bit of friendly fire. 2 defenders absolutely clattering each other in that underspace.
Yeah. Player gets the disc to Freechild, but a couple yellow shirts getting tangled up and going down in the process.
Dylan Freechild and Carlo, both returners from last cycle. Having a chat and just sussing each other out at this first point.
Yeah, so that one's going to come back in with Liv Player on the far sideline. Meehan on the force. Finds an under gainer. Henry Ying moving it down that far sideline. Rafi Hayes needs a reset. It's high, but taken down quickly across Colton. Sorry, Finney. USA happy to swing. They want to find a safe option, put it out to space. Dawn Colton run through. USA with a little bit of a hiccup in the middle, but able to put that in, looking reasonably comfortable on their second offensive attempt.
Yeah, had to steady the ship a bit there, and they did just that. Energy seems high in camp, and that's actually all they needed to do, even though there was a hiccup in the middle. A lovely find on the open side. Colton absolutely blitzing through 2 defenders.
Yeah, really nicely set up cut right from the back of stack. You can see attempts to kind of peel off and cover her, but not to be. Rob Andrews realized the coverage was blown, but can't get there. USA 1-0 in the first point of the semi-final game.
It does show that just having conviction from that back of stack cut, irrespective of how tall and how fast the defender is, if you've got them on the back foot, just continuing a nice hard cut to that corner cone is exactly how we drill in Frisbee. And for any of those younger teams watching, this is definitely one to to tag on YouTube and go back and watch at a later date. What have we got from the USA's first D-line? Marquise Brownlee on the pull. He's been an absolute stalwart in the club scene in the US, pulling and in UFA for Boston Glory.
That is a beautiful pull, sailing down there.
Or New York Empire, apologies.
Stays in exactly. Oh, it's gorgeous. Having to be fielded in the back of the end zone by Gan. Back and forth, Gan back on the disc now. Finds Weir. Gan going every other, tearing up yards. A reset, Mark Wee. A low one to Phillips, but that's not a problem. She'll pick that up and keep it moving. We coming through, receiving that in stride. There is a call in the field which causes a momentary pause. Kolsha taps that back in though, and Australia are back off to the races. Carr looking for a reset. Very tight coverage. We are centers to Gan. That one's floating, but has the time. Gan trying to milk that in, not quite. And a quick pop to Weir, that will do the job. Australia with a decisive response. Really lovely offensive play, felt really powerful, kind of very, very tight defense, but Australia looking calm and undisrupted.
I feel for Gan there. He is having to do all the heavy lifting where Tom Tullett, the Tom Tullett role from last cycle, and he's still looking for his first goal of the tournament. I looked at the stat sheet and he's on 12 assists, 1 goal. He just needs to eke that one step further. But I think that's his role, is just get a nice little handler reset and then dish off to someone else.
Yeah, I mean, if we had the stats on how many times he's touched the disc ahead of those assists, and even in the points that he hasn't maybe got the stat on, I mean, Gan is putting on an absolute masterclass in handler movement, in creating space, in hitting your reset. Yeah, been phenomenal. I think it feels like all weekend we've talked about Alexander Gan, and kind of the next comment's been about Cupcake, who Chris Tullett, who's not here, not in this cycle, has ostensibly retired, although we know that doesn't often stick. We'll see how that goes. But really, Alexander Gan playing a phenomenal game. He's got a different style and he brings so much dynamism to this team, keeping things moving, always giving an option. It's really just been amazing for the Team Australia throughout this weekend, and I'm sure they're going to keep exploiting his talents all the way through to the World Games.
Lovely pull from Rob Andrews to start this point.
Oh, big pressure. Rafi Haynes takes the hit. And again, that's a bit of friendly fire, but taking the hit, rifling that deep, bit of argy-bargy on the reception. Patterson definitely fighting for position. I think a bit of discussion here. Maybe that was more than's going to be acceptable.
Yeah, here we have it on the replay. Yeah, there's a bump in the back for sure, and by the time the disc was actually coming down, yeah, the offensive player, Finney, had actually turned away from the disc, had already called a foul.
Yeah, lots of contact. Finney, I think, well within her rights to feel a bit aggrieved by that. I think it certainly impacted her ability to make a play. So great hustle, but just a bit too much physicality in that instance.
I mean, there's going to be a huge violation here because Rob Andrews saying, no, it's got to come in. You've got to tap the floor where the incident happened, and everyone's already in the end zone.
Yeah, well, not going to sweat it this time. A high centering pass. Ing finds the space. Johnny Mulks. Smiles all round. USA happy to put that one on the board.
Yeah, high octane point. That's what we're looking for from a viewer's perspective. You know, both teams absolutely chomping at the bit. We had some bids flying in early doors, as long as it's not dangerous, and that's what we want to see. And it being contested. But then once you've had that contested, a little bump in the back, bit of composure. This is exactly what teams train for, is this red zone efficiency, and they just find the open player. And Johnny milks it in, takes it in stride.
Yeah, figuring out the level of physicality, so tricky. You know, ostensibly a non-contact sport, we see a lot of contact on the field, and it's really between the players to work out what is and isn't acceptable. We did see quite a lot of contact in that point. Both of these sides play some really stifling person defense. It can be really challenging, and sticking to your player like glue can mean there's the opportunity for collisions. Always defensively hoping to avoid that, looking to avoid that, being proactive about avoiding that. We even saw, though, with that tight defensive look, some of your own teammates knocking into each other as you're all trying to fight to get free in small spaces. So definitely need to make sure they're aware and keeping everyone safe. But so far, happy to make those adjustments. McGuckin on offense for Australia. Weir finds that far sideline. Wee puts it deep, comfortably received by Phillips.
Yeah, and that was textbook offense there. Used the whole width of the field, and as soon as they had isolation deep, took the shot. Yeah, you know, as you can see, centering pass, it was covered, but there's conviction on the throw and the cut. Gets to the far side. Thank you very much. Put it out in front of the player.
Yeah, lovely. So far, I think we've seen very similar styles and approaches from these sides. We know that they do often kind of overlap in their approach to the game. The way that they play on the field, the way they use the space, that kind of physicality, that really powerful approach to offense and defense. I know, though, that there are some variations. You know, Australia have a number of different zone looks that they like to bring. Interesting to see at what point in this game, if they choose to utilize different looks and try and kind of catch the other team off guard.
And I wouldn't be surprised if that's the sort of thing we see in literally the next point or two, because, you know, the first half, you are not as close to crunch time, even though it matters, so you can suss out the other team, try out a few things, and if it doesn't pay off, you've still got time to adapt, you've still got time to adjust. So this is the time, if any, to start sussing them out.
Yeah.
Put pressure on in different ways.
There's been a lot of discussion this weekend about how much are these World Games squads going to show of their playbook, and I really think this is about testing systems. So I'd be surprised if we weren't seeing a lot of what they've got planned so that they can adjust and make changes. I'm sure there'll be lots of differences between what happens at the tournament, but I'm sure we'll see some big puts like that from Colton and a huge takedown. Henry Ing gets high to receive that. An inside block, not coming, inside pass, beautiful.
Rob Andrews, hands on his head there. It's very rare that he gets beaten in the air, but the disc has just lifted over his fingers. He's you know, he's basketball rim or higher there on that jump, and just Henry Ing better positioning slightly behind him.
Yeah, monster leap from both of them, but Ing just getting the best of it today.
The other Ing brother, Michael Ing. And here it is, that rip from Colton. Yeah, immediate turn and throw. Oh!
Yeah, just a slightly better read to towering forms, getting up there. And then we see that pop, big fake, and creating that open space. Huge effort. Looked like Lyra Meehan might have that D, but just past her fingertips. Had created enough separation for to be exploited. Johnson, lovely pass into Finney. Another score on the board.
And it's heating up. So 3-2, we're still all holds as we sit, but it hasn't been turnover free. Both teams pushing really hard on defense. I do think we've got turns coming. I've just seen on this near sideline one of the Aussie players also in trainers, Lad Mattis. Not playing this game, hopefully just a resting one.
Fielded. Keys looking downfield, moving his mark. Brownlee gets a hand to it. No problem though. McGuckin happy to go and tidy that one up. Australia confidently moving the disc round the backfield. Find the pass down into the middle, taken under pressure. McGuckin now, big pressure from the USA side, but Australia are meeting it. That one is low, but it is picked up. Keys rifles it deep, stumble, and a clean up again. McGuckin in the backfield on the far side, going deep, tidying up any mess that might be coming as a result of this USA defense. And that was incredibly tight, but Australia really rising and meeting USA at their level of intensity, keeping their offense flowing. Low disc, a number of what could have been kind of misfires, but that one beautifully sitting round, and McGuckin.
Excellent backup, because that looks like it's just bang over Prentice's head. The wind sort of pulled it right, and without Rob Andrews there, that's going to be a really tough toe grab on the back of the end zone.
Yeah, and maybe just a little stumble from Prentice, but Sam McGuckin cleaning that up.
Another one of the returners from last cycle, Sam McGuckin. Yeah, and I think maybe that continuity of having 10 returning players probably helps this Aussie line. The US with a bit more rotation. They've only got 5 or 6 who are here from the last cycle. But that said, they do also have a much bigger pool to choose from, and players who play at the highest level more consistently through through the UFA and through the highest level club system.
Andrews with the pull. That one's sitting nicely into that far corner. It stays in. Comfortably fielded to Finney. Ing moving the disc around the back. Free child now. Australia putting a lot of pressure on. It felt like there was lots of separation between the cutters and handlers, but they'll work with what they're given. Galton trying to get position, but Bill Foreman coming in hot, tidying that one up. Looked like it sort of trailed away at the end. That one sitting in the wind again, just falling foul of the wind slightly.
Yeah, both Aussie players having better position on that one. Patterson also well pissed. Here goes throw up.
Pigeon making a good cut, had space to work with, but that was a really zippy throw. Going downwind, particularly on that far sideline, you do have to put some beams behind it so that it sort of stays the course, but it will get more momentum with the wind, and that one not able to be brought down. USA getting moving, finds Ing. An interception. Australia moving quickly. A battle.
And now we're at 2 turns apiece in this point. This is the point at which, elite teams settle the ship and just convert. That's the same. Is that the same battle we had at the far end? Rob Andrews versus Michael Ing.
Michael Ing really heads up. These teams do not waste a beat. If there is a turnover, then they are a D-line immediately. There is no hesitation. Great work. Massive pressure. Patterson staying tight. Johnson needs a reset, finds it in Finney. Oh, massive defensive effort. Oh, and again, Australia putting it all out here. USA unfussed though, Ing in the middle. Finney. It's low, and it's too low. Great bid from Colton, trying to keep that alive, but that's not going to be this really athletic, punchy defensive effort from Australia. Maybe just getting into the USA consciousness a little bit. Hard to keep your cool when you've got bids flying left, right, and center. A sweeping throw. Are they able to bring it down? Hands on. But Angela Pigeon not able to keep possession. I like that look. It really felt like there was the space to work with. But Pigeon, great effort, not successful on this occasion. Ing, looking downfield, has to swing. Back to Johnson in the middle. Finds Hayes in that middle space that he's owning so well this game. Free child. Back to Hayes. Johnson in the middle. Colton USA moving it around. That one's going to be high, but Ing reads that well, keeps the inside line, doesn't give Foreman an opportunity to come in and get another D in that corner. A scrappy point, but USA hold on to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like either team would have been a little bit annoyed at conceding that one. Both had chances. What I love about this is when Ing gets this disc in the middle, he points at his brother, just shows his eyes, and basically has communicated, I'm throwing this out on the far side to you. And Henry, his brother, knows exactly where this is going. Pinpoint, away from the defender. Thank you very much. But Australia had 2 really clear-cut chances, and unfortunately not able to come away. And I think those are the margins that create these games. Getting a break at this point in the game, 3 points, 4 points from half would really matter.
Yeah, definitely. And these are not teams that you can afford to squander opportunities. They will be few and far between. So getting 2 break opportunities and not being able to put them to use will be a real disappointment for the USA. Like a real positive thing that they're getting the turns, but you've got to be able to put them in. And like I said, USA so quick to switch onto defense, keep that pressure high, not give the Australians any space to work.
I think that's probably the biggest takeaway from that point, actually. You're right, it was instantaneous. There was only one real slow start. The rest of it was, oh, we're going, we're cooking with gas.
Phillips fakes the inside. Looking for a reset. Finds Wee. Gan. Wee back to Phillips. Happy to move it through this handler set. They are gaining yards. Gan tearing across the field. Puts that one high. Wee is there. Gan jinking around, getting that separation. Phillips changing the angle of attack. Looking downfield. Sweeping swing out to Wee. Australia very patient in this red zone. A bump on the mark. Gan just takes it, happy to play through. Wee has to snatch that one out the air. Quickly moving it over and punched into the corner.
Excellent hold. I actually got to the point where I was almost, scrunching up my fists in that one. That felt tight. The US pressure was all over the Australian line, and you know what? They just stood up to it and worked their way around. Cat Phillips really pulling the strings on some of that, but that is a well-drilled, well-connected O-line, showing how it's done.
Yeah, I mean, the defensive pressure from the US is monumental. And the fact that Australia are just meeting them there and bringing that same level of intensity on offense is just phenomenal work.
Yeah, it's quite enjoyable watching that Grant Lindsay, Alexander Gan matchup. Gan doing his best to really jink upfield, come back, and Grant Lindsay excellent in that handler defensive space, doing his best to just hold on.
So, tied up at 4s in this semi-final match, both sides bringing a level of intensity that I think it's the first I've seen of this weekend. You know, of the games I've watched, we've seen some real battles, but this feels like another level. These teams really bringing out the best, but seeking to bring out the worst in each other.
And if this is a game to 13, we are already a third of the way through the match. So, in terms of the ebbs and flows of the game, you could feel the pressure from both sides ramp up massively in those last 2 defensive points. I think, yeah, even if at the beginning you're fairly relentless, there's always that extra 5%. Australia getting off to a quick start in this one.
Here's a Freechild tearing up some yards with a little dribble and give go. Finney accepts that one under. Slightly more sort of poachy look from the Australian defense. Colton finds Finney down the line. Freechild passes that one back. It's low, but no problem, keeping it alive. Hayes back to Freechild. USA keeping the disc in motion. A high toss, hand in the air though. I think there's a pick call. Johnson very free.
Yeah, Egan Griffiths, 100% just stationary. You know,
Yeah, and that's not something we'd usually see from her. We've seen her throughout this game and throughout the tournament, very tight in her matchup, so some discussion. Just to catch up in this instance, Johnson on the disc, finds Finney. Quick movement resets, they want to keep that stall count low. Big break to Freechild, who scoops that up. Massive defensive effort from Kyle Lowe, streaking through, but the furiosity with which Dylan Freechild seems to attack the disc secured it for him today.
Yeah, other than a couple of slightly messy points, this is not a game where the offense is having everything their way. The pressure is absolutely relentless. Both teams putting their bodies on the line. Timeout called, not sure by whom.
Yeah, timeout on the field. We'll take this opportunity to give you a few messages from our sponsors.
What are they, spaceships from Mars? No, they're Frisbees. Watch it soar. It flies way around like a bird. You can even run for a pass. You can play all kinds of games. Isn't it amazing? Frisbee Flying Saucer. Yours at toy, drug, and department stores.
Welcome back to this mixed division semi-final. And what a game we have here. USA World Games squad are leading 5 to Australia World Games squads 4. I'm Rachel Douglas here in the booth with Marius Hutchison, and we are buzzing. This has been a monumental game so far, and we're barely halfway through it.
This is exactly what both teams wanted. World Games really isn't that far away, and you want to be tested by the best opposition. It's just unfortunate the best opposition is those people you're going to see at the tournament in Chengdu. In with the pull.
Dan fields that comfortably, and a quick pass to Andrews. These teams coming off of a timeout, both looking to make adjustments to give them the edge. USA with this tight person defense. Andrews looking for Weir. That one sits nicely around. McGuckin, sliding catch. Gan, it's low. Oh, and it's an unbelievable pickup. There will be some discussion. That was right on the sideline.
We actually have a perfect camera view in this bottom right-hand corner. If there's a...
We've got some players coming to have a look at the replay. Maybe we can get another replay where it's slightly slower, because this is a huge moment and a massive play from Alexander Gan. His knee is down.
Yeah.
We have Hayes here. Hayes here in the booth.
I think it's left.
His hand's on the line. His hand is on the line.
We've got
we're not in control.
We've got a lot of voices here in the booth as people are reviewing the footage.
Here we go. This is as slow as we've got. Yeah, his left hand is on the line. They're calling it out. That is inches.
I mean, that was a massive effort from Alexander Gan.
But
a question of centimeters.
Yeah, and the players staying calm throughout. We had two sideline players, Rafa Haynes and Alexander London-Mattis, having a look at the footage and just waiting until we had that good slow motion replay.
Johnson finds Freechild, quick movement. Oh, it's high, but there's not a defender. That was a a spicy quick pass easily goes awry in this sort of weather and when rushed. But when you've got hands like the US steady hands who have thrown every throw 1,000 times, that will come off perfectly. Freechild moving quickly and that over the top pop, but just no defender able to get within striking distance.
And more importantly, significantly, that is the first break of the game. Downwind 6-4, half at 7 presumably, given that we've flexed to a 13-point game. So let's see US bringing out a big D-line here. If they can cement this, that's, you know, a huge step up in the actual overall game sense.
Yeah, and I mean, we spoke about it before, getting those break opportunities, you've just got to put them in because this is a game of inches. That out call was, it looked like on field it has resolved as in, but it took a sort of frame by frame review.
Without seeing his left hand, I actually thought it was in initially.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
And it is, yeah. I wonder if that had not been a game that had been streamed, would it have just gone back to the thrower? It
seemed as though on field they might have resolved, but then, you know, they're well within their rights to come and review the footage. One from each team coming to advise, and ultimately it was Australia who conceded Gan, despite the heroic effort. That hand was on the line. Back out on offense now with the win behind them. Gan finds Phillips. Big fake from Phillips, trying to move this tight USA pressure from Chastain. McGuckin finds Andrews. Phillips down the line, rips it deep.
McGuckin and Brownlee.
It's going to be a fight, and I think there's going to be a discussion. I suspect a little hand holding in the air. McGuckin looked quite surprised.
I think McGuckin actually had his hand around the disc, so. Yeah, I'm not surprised that there's a strip or a foul call there. Brownlee, has called it a goal on the field.
Yeah, heroic defensive effort from Brownlee, getting high up to put on that pressure. McGuckin, you could tell, really wanted it, but unfortunately, Brownlee not able to get that defensive effort in cleanly.
I think that's a sort of moment where, which is fairly unique to our sport, being self-refereed, not having an observer in that instance. The two players on the pitch just have to come to a resolution. And actually, that's by no means a bad thing if both people just want to talk it out for 20 seconds and say, you know what, I agree. You know, it doesn't matter what the resolution is as long as there's consensus.
Yeah, and I think that that's a really huge part of the game that's on display here today. These elite level, you know, these are the best of the best, and they're able to demonstrate that you can play as hard, you can play as, you know, with so much passion and intention and physicality and all of that, and still keep that fair-mindedness, still be able to have those discussions even in those really, really high pressure moments where it feels like the whole game could hinge on this decision, and they're able to resolve it with calm, with fairness. Another demonstration of what it means to play Amazing Ultimate, brought to us here today by Team USA, Team Australia World Game Squads. Phillips with a rolling pull. Ingda stopping that on the sideline. Gan making sure, yeah, can't be aiding the offense by letting it stop within 3 meters of the field. So Gan's not giving USA any advantage. Hayes, little fumble by player, but well secured. Colton receiving that again, that battle with Patterson. I think maybe a discussion about the physicality there. Patterson putting in a big effort, Colton coming down with it, no question about it, but definitely some contact on that play. And we've seen contact between those two as they continue to battle it out.
Really nice inside shot here from player, puts it out in front of the defender.
Yeah, just that reaching effort from Patterson in that last moment, causing some contact. I think Colton just sort of flagging that as something that maybe could be tightened up a touch as that point came down, but
Patterson does seem to be closing in on her on the run. You know.
Yep.
I think given the level of the game and the sort of level of physicality we've had in the first 10 points, that seems on par. But I can understand why Colton feels like her ankles have been taken out a little bit there. I just think that might be the smallest of margins between excellent.
So we are at halftime here. This is just a game to 13. We're going to take a quick break and leave you with these messages from our wonderful sponsors.
Shopping Zillow and need a trusted resource for your real estate questions? Want to check on loan pre-approval? Reach out to HomeForce, an all-in-one home buying service engineered for ultimate players, fans, and friends. The HomeForce team provides services in real estate, mortgage financing, insurance, and much more. No pressure, no commitment, just trusted advice.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
Lightspeed VC, a global venture capital firm, proud to sponsor excellence and team cohesion worldwide.
I worked for a Michelin star chef making gelato in Paris. I had my own restaurant in Nicaragua and a food truck in Australia. Why wouldn't you watch me? Check out my YouTube channel.
Oh my goodness. That is unbelievable. And created the tip and made for it.
That was absolutely incredible.
What are they, spaceships from Mars? No, they're Frisbees. Watch it soar. It flies way around like a bird. You can even run for a pass. You can play all kinds of games. Isn't it amazing? Frisbee Flying Saucer. Yours at toy, drug, and department stores.
Welcome back. It's now the second half of the mixed division semi-final game here at London Invite. It's been an absolute corker. The first half has just been a phenomenal display from both sides. USA managing to just eke ahead. As we said, it's a game of inches, and an incredibly close in-out call meant USA got an opportunity to break, which they put away, giving them that one break lead against Australia here as they both seek to progress to the final. Two World Game squads matching up against each other, trying to get a feel for what might be coming at them in the tournament in Chengdu, China in August. But for now, we just have London Invite, two teams on the field, giving it their all, trying to make it to a final. Got to focus on the task at hand, Marius.
Yeah, absolutely. And these two teams will be concentrating on themselves, but here in the booth and you on your sofa, wherever you are, you can have a look at the other matchup as well, or pin it to watch later on ULTI.TV. It looks like an absolute battle over that side as well. Canada, well, I won't give you a spoiler. I'll let you watch it in full
I like
time.
that. Keep them in anticipation in case they want to rewatch.
But it looks like a good game to watch.
Yeah, it's all happening here. ULTI.TV bringing you the action from three fields. at London Invite. You can watch it live, you can watch it later. Appreciate all of our members who are tuning in.
We've also got another stream game going on as we speak, so if you've got 3 screens, why not? Just get them all up. But it's a matchup we'll probably see in 2 weeks in time in Spain. It's the Australian under-24s versus the Canadian under-24s. And I will let you in on that one. That is at 7-7, and so it's going to be an absolute humdinger to watch.
Yep. Big competition in the mixed division with all these national representations, women's and open also. Lots to play for here at London Invite.
Bit of a power move from the US timeout, a US huddle at halftime, very much in the Aussie half. I don't know whether that was intentional or just just because that's the closest to their bags, but it felt like a nice little mental, we're in your space.
Listen, anything that gives you the edge,
whatever
it may be, there's so much at play here. We've talked a lot about what phenomenal athletes they are, but the mental toughness that you have to compete at the level that these players do, both with their clubs, with their nations, and now as a World Games squad, it's really impressive. And if you think your huddle can give you the edge, then sure, why not? Australia receiving the pull, coming out second half. Gan, big wind up, that's a fake. Finds McGuckin. Slicing that through the middle. Powerful cuts from Weir. Big swing, finds Mark Wee. Australia moving through the field with such intention. Wee puts that one out and wide. Unmarked. Sam McGuckin seemed to have lots of space to play with there, but just the way that Australia move around the field with intention, it's like you're in their house. It's like you're in their garden and you're trying to hold space. USA defense, an unbelievable pressure, but the way that Australia just makes their strikes with such force and clarity. And then we see that beautiful around pass. Nothing can be done.
And you can understand why McGuckin was such a high statter over in Alabama in 2022. He is a big presence downfield, and Holzmeier in this instance has to take away something, which gives McGuckin a nice, well-timed cut out to the break side.
Yeah, he's been tearing up the field, McGuckin. Holzmeier needing to take something away, as you say, but it's impossible to take everything away, and such a dynamic player like McGuckin. Just going to get free if you give him any space at all.
We just had to name drop him on the mic because he was walking straight past the booth.
Yeah, it was a bit awkward talking about all these people when they're directly in front of us, but
hey ho.
Yeah, I'm sure you don't get to this stage without being used to getting some accolades along the way. A couple fans. This game has pulled a bit of a crowd. Lots of people here at London Invite enjoying the sunshine and this incredible display that we have here in front of us. That pull will just sit out the back, well left. Freechild picking it up to take to the brick mark.
Wind's actually getting pretty gusty. I think that fence on the far side doesn't help. It's still predominantly left to right as we look at it on the screen, but no, definitely not consistent.
Freechild. Hayes. Johnson finds that under space. Reset to Freechild. A loose mark, I think, just trying to contain that explosive movement. Down the line, interception, Rob Andrews.
Read it like a book.
Absolutely firing this Australian defense. Prentice keeps the feet in. Andrews again, tearing up the yards, but that one's just a misthrow. Prentice unable to recover it. Andrews, devastation.
Maybe that's just, you know, I know that those two are stalwarts of the national team, but maybe that is just a comms thing, because Andrews, his instant reaction was just to push it into the middle of the field. Prentice's body weight still fully facing downfield, pushing her defender to give her more reset space.
Yeah, absolutely punishing cut from Ing. Straight in. Johnson gets that disc moving. USA wasting no time. Gifted with that back. Break opportunity denied through their own miscommunication, and USA very happy to keep some of their messier holds, but a clean sheet, no breaks against the USA quite yet.
I think come Chengdu, one or two of those is going to go against them. So really good composure for the USA on that quick turn. You know, Ing, having been on the force to immediately stride deep, really opens up the offensive field, even if it doesn't come to him. But yeah, I think that's a controllable for the Australians to tidy up.
Yeah, and these Ds that they are, like, they're getting positive defensive blocks, you know, like we've seen some teams try and put pressure on and just not able to eat away at this USA like juggernaut of an offense. Australia are getting those interceptions. They've managed to get positive turns that they have earned and achieved through their own physicality, but you've really got to put those in, and that's the first in the second half that Australia haven't been able to put in. Not sure how many more chances they're going to get. Gan. USA in a zone look here. Australia happy to move it, finding that gap in the middle. Absolutely off to the races through that cup. USA on the back foot. McGuckin. We are cutting through, lots of traffic, finds Gan in the space, and that was no problem at all. Interesting for USA to switch it up. If you're going to test your zone out against anyone, though, this Australia side is going to really show you where the holes are, and I think that's exactly what they did there. Getting their momentum behind them, moving the disc quickly, looking quite unfussed, unbothered by that different defensive look from the US.
Yeah, and how wrong I was earlier in the game saying, oh, you know, early in the game is when we'll see the zones come out, time to test stuff. We're here fully into the latter stages, and Australia absolutely cooked through that zone. That said, I think one of the USA setup's best attributes is how quickly they can use information and put it into strategy for the next point for later in the game. And also, that is an invaluable resource going into Chengdu, understanding that actually when Gan's on the field, when a couple of the other Aussie players are on the field, they're very happy taking space.
Yeah, not sure who on the Australian roster is not going to fall into that category, but that's, as you say, like these are the people to test out again, and we can see here the US coaching staff just having a word with that line, figuring out what adjustments they need to make. There's so much depth of knowledge in the coaching program in the US and of course Australia, both with a good, solid, well-experienced coaching team to support them. So they have the brains to make these decisions and these adjustments. The US on offense. Australia now with a sort of poachy looking defensive look. The USA happy to move it around the back. Player caught on that sideline, but finds a gap and the reset. Johnson puts that one out. You got Hayes. Big effort to get down there. I thought that was ground that was going to be recovered. Hayes not able to make that last few meters.
Nationals final for Rhino. That's a layout grab. I think come Chengdu, that he's flying.
Well, this is potentially a break that could keep Australia in contention for the finals of London Invite. Are they able to do something with it this time? That one goes deep. And it's just fumbled on reception.
Oh, inches.
Lee not able to bring it down. USA very glad to have it back. Finney finds Ing. Finney with a downfield pass, gets Johnson gaining yards. That inside's been punishing this weekend. Happy to move it around the back. USA getting their end zone set up. That one's a little bit deep and an absolutely flying bid.
Colton taking a lot of the big hits today.
Colton kind of having to go around the corner, I think, on that one and not seeing the defense coming in. Yeah, definitely having to change direction.
Yeah, she's called it a turnover, but I can understand why that was kind of out of her blind side.
It was. It's a bit tricky because it does look like sort of, I didn't see which Australian shirt it was, but that there's a straight line for that play and they sort of get to the disc first, but Colton's still kind of coming around the corner trying to make the adjustment to catch that one. Really tricky because Colton has no right to that space, but if you're not able to see the player coming in, then the onus is on the player who has the better visibility to make sure that everything's safe.
Yeah, agreed. Very tricky.
Big wind up and a misread downfield. Egan Griffiths absolutely launches that one deep, but Kyle O in position and then just not able to read the shape of the disc. USA again get the disc back, wanting to hold, wanting to deny Australia their break opportunity. Can Australia get another turn on the USA side?
Good hold from Knox.
Player finds Finney in the middle. Big fake. A swing out wide. Colton moves that one into the streaking form of Hayes. It just looks like that was towed into the front line as he comes through. A decisive answer to what was quite a sort of scrappy point in the end. Huge defensive effort from Australia to get some break opportunities, but as in the first half, unable to do anything with it. Awkward catch from Hayes, but great effort to hold on to it. And a lovely punishing throw from Colton for that assist.
Yes, she seems to have completely shook off the couple of hits she's had, being forced to ground by the yellow shirts a little bit, but taking it like a champion, just going and playing Frisbee. James Bray putting in a lot of effort in that point. You saw him on that D attempt, and you saw him right at the end pushing Ralph Haynes the whole way. (9-7) as we stand. I assume still 9.5 minutes left, even though it's a game to 13. Both teams, already got 7 on the line, fully structured. And the breeze now, I don't know if you can hear it over the microphone, but the breeze is picking up quite a lot. Not that it's going to affect these two teams at all.
Yeah, over the course of the weekend, the wind has been a massive factor in teams' decisions on how to play, what defensive looks to have. Right now, it seems to be kind of manageable, but definitely can pick up at a moment's notice. We're sticking with Gan. Finds that reset. McGuckin on the far sideline. This person defense furious. Gan breaking ankles out there with this cutting pattern. You've got to work hard to shake them loose, but if you can move like that, driving to get some space, an absolute battle between Gang and Ing. We now on this home sideline. Oh, and a block on that pass. That one's going deep. Grant reads that well, and Gan cannot recover that ground. Great effort from Gan, that heads up switch. As soon as that turnover happened, Gan realized he needed to chase that one down.
Some excellent sideline help there for Ing. Obviously player on the pitch doing the work, but I could hear someone on the sideline beside us shouting, "Michael, it's coming back, Michael, it's coming back," and just, had Grant Lindsay streaking deep. I think after this match, I'm officially a Gan fan. He has been absolutely excellent and putting defenders like Grant, Lindsay, and Michaeling on ice. And yet, at this level, they're going to come back at you.
Yeah, absolutely. Team Gan in the booth, tearing up the field. Love the cutting patterns. Really not afraid to go toe-to-toe with his defender and earn the space, earn the pass back, earn that movement in the handler space. So excited to see what these teams can bring. Compare the games that we see coming up in August with what we've seen here. See where the learning points have come in, how they've managed to solidify their successes and learn from their mistakes.
Frisbee definitely goes in rolls sometimes as well, so I think this is a bit of a mental exercise from Australia. Yeah, they're 3 or 4 points down at this point, but the game is far from over.
Free child with the pull. Keys fields and finds Weir. A little bit of movement in the backfield. Happy to reset. Keys and Weir find Phillips in the mid. And that one goes up to the streaking form of Weir. No one else to speak of in the area. Huge, decisive cut. Great throw from Kat Phillips. Perfectly read. Beautiful play from Team Australia.
Yeah, Weir with her hands in the air as she's streaking deep. Kat Phillips just rolls it outside so that it's on her right shoulder.
And that separation, amazing. Really earned from Weir. So smart the way that she's moving around the field. And I love the timing. I think we've seen this sort of look time and time again this weekend. But if Phillips had chose to throw that even a moment earlier with the wind behind it, it's so easy for that just to escape control and sail out the back or be uncatchable by the receiver. But just by holding on for a beat and then putting up a disc with so much touch and intention, we are able to secure that. And a lovely, lovely hold for Team Australia.
Yeah, one of the best bits about that, other than the throw and catch, is just, especially in mixed, the other players holding shape, keeping their defensive players out of that downfield space. So Weir has it all to herself, and then it's just one-on-one disc out in front.
Yeah, really intentional play, keeping those throwing channels clear for their teammates. Beautiful. Definitely in contention for the Kennington Doghouse play of the day. We'll have to see what we're going to come out with after this game, but that was a stunner. That pull sits up, but comfortably fielded. Brownlee looking into this zone. Happy to swing it. Thompson directing traffic, asking Brownlee to make that cut. Chastain. USA having to just find their resets right now. Not seeing the downfield options, needing to reset. Grant putting in some fakes. Brownlee just sneaks into the cup and then opens up the arm. And a gusty breeze picked up almost exactly as that was released.
Yeah, Foreman doing well to just be in that space, but the disc has taken it way over both players. Is that the first zone look we've had from the Aussies?
I think we've seen, it's hard to say, they sort of had a poachy set up in a couple points. Hard to tell for fully if it was a zone or just sort of stepping off slightly. Definitely a clear zone in that instance. Australia with, I think, their 4th break opportunity. And that one is, that's rifle deep, legs tangled between Andrews and Brownlee. Andrews clearly trying to change the angle of direction, but that one came in hot, it came in fast.
we've got multiple Aussie players on this sideline saying that's that's a turn, it's going over your
Yeah.
head. I can understand why Rob Andrews thinks he's a little bit aggrieved because he's had the angles tapped, but yeah, that was flying wide.
Those calls are always so tricky because you're sort of trying to imagine what could have been, you know, like how fast am I? How far can I bid for a pass? But yeah, the Australian sideline being quick to say, sorry pal, that one's not recoverable. And now back in this zone. Kolsha. Chastain on the far sideline, a little pop to McKenna. Now Thompson trying to move this mark. Big force, but Thompson gets around it. Little give go with Chastain. Brownlee and Boxley now working it down this home sideline. USA just keeping that force moving. Happy to make the small movements, happy to get the swing. Boxley pops that one into the corner. Brownlee knocking at the door, lots of yellow shirts. A swing around the edge. Oh, a huge effort from Boxley trying to recover. Chastain in space, but just misread it, but that one will get the Australians off to the races. Andrews receives in space, finds Keys. A flat disc forward to the streaking form of James Braid. Secures Australia their first break of the game.
And there we have it. You know, that is right down in their own end zone. All it took was the quickest mis-execution from the Americans, and the Australians work it down. 3-4 passes, full length of the field.
Yeah,
Game
we
on.
See that pop to Chastain. So
Boxley with a great
unfortunately,
effort.
over their hands. Boxley showing some real commitment. But really, I mean, again, Australia just showing their form. Like, they've had break opportunities. I think this was their 5th break opportunity, 5th time's a charm. But they're not playing small or scared. They're not worried about it. They're still playing in a really expansive way. They find the right options, and they're putting these beautiful lead passes down that far sideline. Keys throwing that one nice and flat right into the hands of James Bray. Really well-timed cut. I'm really pleased. I feel like Australia they've had their opportunities. They'll have wished they converted some of those ones earlier. But really glad that they've got that on the board and they're keeping this game tight.
Yeah, and that's the sort of thing they'll talk about when they have not just a management chat, but a morale boosting chat amongst the team. You know, we can do this. They know they can hang at this level. They're going to go for 10 more minutes. We've just had the word, which I think probably takes us to around 13 anyway. Just by the ebb and flow of this game, I think we've probably got 5 more points.
Yeah, great communication from the coaching staff, keeping us informed in the booth. Teams electing to a slightly different format for the semi-final, which they're well able to do. We appreciate.
Yeah, and I think it's actually excellent for a tournament to be able to flex that. We already know that France are in a particular game slot later because they want to play different opposition and they need to get away. So yeah, I think kudos to the tournament allowing that flexibility. It's as much for the teams as it is for people at home watching.
That pull is going to sail out of bounds. Chased down by Gan. Now coming out on this defensive line. This looks to be quite a big line for Australia.
Big wide side stack with Ing initiating.
Hayes, big fake down the sideline. Looking for the reset. Johnny Marks finds Hayes in the middle. USA looking for space. Finds some yards. Johnson. Gang marking out any of the reset opportunities there. Phillips now trying to do the same. Oh, massive save. Carolyn Finney keeps the dream alive. USA finds Ing in the middle, little stumble. resetting. No rush for USA. Happy to work it in. Finney putting in big fakes, a massive around. Finds player, that inside break, and a huge layout block. Alexander Gan. My goodness.
Momentous. So this is it. 10-9 down. Break opportunity.
Oh.
Yeah.
The fire with which Gan is attacking this game is something for the ages.
And yeah, veteran move from Johnny Maltz not to just pick that up and go. Let the offense set up.
And then back Hayes to receive that in the deep space.
Yeah, a little bit gutting there from the Aussies. That's one that they will look back and say, yeah, we could have done that.
A veteran move, as you say, just taking that second, not forcing the quick turn, and actually in the setup, Andrews, who's been such a phenomenal defender all game, maybe just setting up a little bit laterally, giving Hayes that line. Do you think if you're going to be marking the deepest person and you know that they're a huge end zone threat, you want to make sure that you're putting your body in the way and trying to disrupt those options. You can see that play again here. Gan reading that perfectly, demonstrating that good defense isn't always tight in their pocket. If you've got that athleticism, being able to kind of explode out and take that inside line. But unfortunately, the overthrow not able to be recovered. And then Hayes, a decisive cut deep. I think it's the setup. I think that the fact that it was slightly slower to come in and they were able to see where the space was. That throw went almost before the cut had even come. But when you see where the defense is and you know who your receiver is and what they want, that's always going to go basically stalling one.
Yeah, and it was, you know, even though Maltz did wait a little bit, it was still, you know, seconds away from Rob Andrews missing that toe in on the line. And so maybe that was a little bit in his head still. But yeah, excellent just communication between Maltz and Hayes to thank you very much, we'll take that deep shot.
So USA holding their lead. McKenna with the pull. That sails nicely down. Gan not leaving the field. USA back in this slightly poachy look. Finds Wee. Gan and Wee happy to move it around. Gan's going to keep it moving. McGuckin.
Pick downfield.
Quick reposition of Lado Matos, just making sure he's not too well set up, unfairly according to McGuckin, but nicely resolved. Phillips. Furious defense.
Excellent from Chris Kocher there.
You could almost smell that on the wing. The US really kind of tasting the victory. Grant looking for Chastain. Lado Matos finds Brownlee. Excuse me, I was looking at the wrong 31, Chris Kocher. Excuse me for the error. Looking at the team list, not looking at the face along with the jersey. Of course, that's Chris Kocher.
Yeah, I was pretty sure Lado Matos was on his.
I know.
Was in his trainers on the sideline.
I had this moment where I thought, oh, I haven't said that name so far in the stream. And there's a good reason for that. Oh, potential touch from Weir. Not enough to secure the block. Kocher. Now we're firing with the right name. Inside, that punishing inside shot. USA. Decisive, winning a huge defensive look there. That defense, you could feel a block coming, like the fury with which Australia were attacking it, but slight different vibe from previous points. It just felt like there was something to the US, that there was a determination that they were going to get the block.
I completely agree. The momentum felt in that direction, and I think it's them showing some of their premier qualities. They are used to these high impact moments. Australians coming up just a little bit short.
Yeah, and a do-over on appreciating Chris Kocher's play. Really pivotal, getting a really heads-up block, keeping it clean, a catch, not letting any second effort come on that. Bringing the intensity, amazing work.
So if we are going for another 10 minutes, that from when we were told by the coaches, that gives us 3 more to go.
Game to 13 or 3 more minutes, so we might end up in pretty much the same situation.
Yeah.
I think that's going to all align. USA with the opportunity to close the game out here on a block and a break.
Both coaching staffs waiting till the other line is set to really call their team strat. Yeah, I can see that Aussie's literally looking downfield at the US and vice versa, waiting for the other to set up. He's getting tactical.
I think Alexander Ladomatos now coming and standing directly in front of the booth with his shirt facing me, just to
this is me.
Really make me feel the pain of having got my lists mixed up. Here he is. I apologize to the whole culture family, getting that wrong.
Ooh, first out of bounds pull of the game potentially.
Gan bringing that in on the brick mark.
Checking the wind, I can tell you it's windy.
Oh, it feels a bit still in this moment, but can't count on that to hold. Oh, McGuckin, a big cut deep. Doesn't come. We are winding up, but the timing isn't there. Holstered. Nice forward pass to Phillips, finding the space. A bladey one that comes out quite awkwardly. That felt a little bit forced.
Yeah, agreed. Also, great composure from Gan. If I had McGuckin, then Phillips streaking deep, I would have thrown one of those shots. So,
I mean, it's an Australian favourite look. You know, it's a play. They love that. You know, off the dead disc, off the pull. Someone from the shallow space cuts an absolute stormer deep. We've seen it time and time again. We saw it from this team yesterday, but not to come today. A little bit more composure, but until perhaps a slightly forced option from Phillips. USA looking to close this out. Big passing within striking distance. Player working hard, getting in. That's not going to come. Have to reset. Finney under huge pressure from Phillips. Has to toss one up, and that is brought down by Weir. Yeah. Excellent heads-up awareness. Gan and Weir off to the races. Freechild versus Phillips. Who can come down with it? Freechild just holds position, but Phillips was with him every step of the way. USA striking back.
Coming in
this one goes
player.
up. Can a defensive effort be made? No. Player makes the adjustment. Ing chasing that down. There's space, there's time, there's no defense to be made. USA take the game at 13, 80 minutes. Tidily meeting the points and time cap. USA World Games squad closing that one out. Just managing to take those opportunities, make slightly more clinical decisions than we've seen from the Australian side, but like a phenomenal effort from both teams, and I can't wait to watch this back. I think this is maybe my favorite game I've ever had the privilege of commentating on. Unbelievable plays from both sides. We can see here again that last look, perfectly weighted up. Nothing McGuckin can do on defense.
Good luck to them calling the doghouse player of the game on this one.
Yeah, there is so many to choose from, and here in the booth we've got some people agonizing at the back trying to figure it out. Amazing semi-final game here at London Invite. The play of the game has been decided. It is this defensive effort, the read. Oh wow, he's flying layout block.
Was that James Bray at the back?
Looks to be the number 3 shirt of Kyle O. Hard to see from the angle, but either way, amazing work. Semi-final here, USA going through to the final. World Games, can't wait to see a potential rematch. Thanks for tuning in. We're ULTI.TV.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, Ultimate.
ULTI.TV.